Hey, everybody. Welcome to the ACES Conference podcast. This is Tim Pearson, your host from the West Coast. I want to say hi to everybody. I've got my good buddy Justin Escar here
What's up,
from the
everyone?
East Coast. Justin, how you doing?
East side. I don't know why I did that.
I don't know, because we're dorks. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just wanted to welcome everybody. Thank you for listening. I'm glad that you're here, part of the 53 that now listen to us on a regular basis.
Moving
We're
on.
so glad to have you. Justin, we have a special guest today.
We do.
Yeah, everybody likes it when there's a guest and it's not just Tim and Justin. Today we've got Sara Gepp from Close to the Earth IT. Sara, how are you doing today?
Hey, good. How are you?
What's up, Sarah?
All
So
right.
good to have you.
Hey. Oh, it's good to
Sarah,
be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, will you? Bring us
Let's
into your
see.
world.
Well, right now the world I'm in is my new co-working space in Moore, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. I
Yeah,
thought you were in like Malibu.
I thought it was
two
Ohio.
locations to serve you.
Really? Awesome.
I, it begins with an O. It's an O state, so yeah, that was close. Good job.
Yeah.
So how did this happen? How are you? What's tell us the story. What's going on?
Who are you?
I got
That's what he's asking.
It's a very strange story. Well, I mean, it's kind of simple, but I started my business in 2014 in Malibu, California, where I used to live.
okay.
And then I got married to a professor. And that means it's kind of like being in the military. Well, he was in the military, but now he's a professor. And you just go whatever university you can sort of switch jobs to make sort of the next progressive move in a professor's career. It means
Yeah.
like going to whatever university. And Brian has family here, so in Oklahoma, so he was
Yeah.
excited about going to Oklahoma University. So I kept my business open. I still commute there. Like I'll spend half the month in California and half the month here.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to say. It's kind
Wow.
of starting to be a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how does that work for you? So do you like literally fly and spend 2 weeks and then fly and
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
What kind of
I
what?
just
what
She
booked
kind
nipped
my.
of,
that one in the. She nipped that one in the bud. The answer is yes, Tim.
Yeah.
well, I don't know. I mean, it could be. I've thought of this model before for myself on some levels.
Uh-huh.
Like, hey, do you go on weekend, or like I would like to go to a different part of the state for Thursday Fridays maybe, or something like
Right.
that.
That's a good idea, actually.
Well, so
Um,
I have that client in Miami that we go down to, once a month, and I'm looking to expand down there. Figure I'll spend the rest of the week there, and take care of them and fly back.
Yeah, I have somebody working with me in Malibu as well, who lives in Malibu. And so that makes it really great because
Mhm.
she worked for another ACN in the Los Angeles area for like 6 years. Um, and she was like the technical manager there. She's got all kinds of certifications and stuff. And she just really wanted a break from commuting to LA because
Oh yeah.
it's like 45 minutes each way in
Hmm.
traffic, maybe longer. So she was ready for a break too.
Do you
Yeah.
So
guys
it
do
just
that
has worked out.
whole? Do you do that whole thing like from that SNL bit, the Californians, where they were like, you take the 405 to the 103 to the like? It's probably one of the funniest
Brad,
bits
what are
ever.
you doing here?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, that's it. Yeah, it's such a great bit. Sarah, for those who don't know though, Sarah won the first ever gender equality scholarships for ACES last year, and I'm like
Yeah,
super
that
happy
was
that
awesome.
we're gonna do it again. We're making it happen. I have some
Yay.
work to do before I can publicly announce it, but like I'll just say it on the podcast. Who cares? We're gonna do it again. We'll make it work, and it'll be awesome.
Yay.
It's so
Great to
cool
hear.
too because I'm hiring interns for the summer, and there have been so many women who applied for the internship. So
That's awesome.
I've heard a lot that
Mhm.
the excuse is that there's a pipeline problem and there are not enough women interested in technology and specifically IT. But I'm not finding that. Maybe because I put myself out there on social media and on my website is like, hey, it's when you go to the About Us page, you'll see women on the About Us page, and maybe people will feel comfortable, like maybe they will get hired.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty
That
exciting. I think things are changing.
that's fantastic. That's great. It's
Mm-hmm.
good to hear, and it's nice to have some women in the room and such instead of just a bunch of fat guys. You know, like
I do have to give credit though. Sorry, your Instagram game is solidly on point. I mean, we talk about social media a lot on this show and how it works for people. Do you find like I follow you on Instagram from my personal account. I see you're posting pictures and you're posting into your stories a lot. Like, do you find that work? Like, are you garnering business from your social media, or are you using it more for like retention?
I'm using it for social proof, really.
Okay.
So a lot of my outreach has been about, okay, I'll put it in this context. I feel this way about my car. Something goes wrong with my car. I am so not interested, and I don't want to know how to fix it myself. I don't want to know about it. I want to take it to a person who's going to fix it and make the problem go away. I have zero interest in knowing how to change my wiper blades or oil or whatever. And I have
Right.
found when I first started trying to get these solo entrepreneurs, all these girl boss babes, reaching out to them saying, hey, I do IT. This is a woman owned business. We really want to work with you. I got this apathy back, and it really actually hurt my feelings. So I
Hmm.
started this Instagram account that is like cute, pink desk setups, minimalist
Yeah.
setup for your home office. We've got women in tech featured, highlighting people who have been women pioneers in tech, just to raise awareness and kind of make that connection. If like I took electrical engineering as part of my audio engineering degree, and it felt like something that was really like I was not welcome in the space. I didn't have any prerequisites. My dad never taught me how things work together. We never hung out in the garage together. So I felt like I was really behind in electrical engineering, and it was really a struggle for me to pass that class, to be honest. I did
Right.
it, but I mean, so I'm just relating in that way when I see women trying to kind of be interested in tech, but then feel it's not for them, but then, so I try to kind of tell a woman's story. This is like our stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like
I
that.
think it's a great. I mean, not that you use it as an angle, but I think it's a great angle for your business as a whole. Because clearly, it's not something that Tim or I can do, so it makes you unique and it gives you a perspective on things, and you become relatable in that way. I don't think that there's any woman who's trying to get into IT would look at me and be like, I can relate to that guy.
I think you'd be surprised, like people,
Maybe.
there are as many stories as there are people, really. But what his Instagram and my Twitter have done for me, I think more than anything, is just to show that I have this track record. I have the same messaging. I'm not like a fly by night person, because a lot of the services that I offer now are remote. So,
Mm.
for example, I'm in part of another co-working space that's based in New York and LA, and I have a travel membership, which means I can access the app and go once a month to one of their locations, which I never go to. Um, but I got a client from there who really didn't. I wasn't going to meet her because she's a New York City person. I don't have any plans to go there. So
Sure.
she checked me out on Instagram to see like if I was legit. And I think a
Right.
lot of younger people will do that. They'll check you out on social media to see like, are you real? So
Yeah.
that's how it helps.
Yeah, see, Tim, this is what we were talking about because we've been discussing the ROI on social media, and we talked about this when when Adam Angst was on. Like, if your blog hasn't been updated since 2013, it's time to get rid of your blog on your website. This is kind of that same thing. That like, are you relevant? Are you real? Do you have a point of view on technology? Are you putting out you know proper information that like helps people, things like that, like all like I think social is the new blog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that we and it sucks because there's just so much more of our time that we have to give up to do some of these other things. But we have all these tools that make us more efficient. So, but no, and Sara and I were exchanging messages the other day, and I mean, what I really like about her social is it's very authentic. It's very authentic to her, and we talked about that before. That like your branding has to be like, Justin couldn't pull off talking about wine to everybody. Well, I can't pull off talking about money to everybody.
Challenge accepted. I'm gonna start talking about wine.
But or the Seahawks or whatever it is, and I think that being authentic and and having and even like when we were doing our little warm up here, while Tim was trying to figure out how to make his stupid video work and everything, you guys were having a conversation about what you were snacking on. And Sara was like, no, that's good. That's actually good. It's good that you're having an orange. And I think that
for the record, because my mom's listening, I had an orange today. I ate something healthy. I didn't just eat chocolate and Diet Snapple.
But I think that it's important that we're small business owners and that there is the brand of you that is also tied to that business. And until we get to the point where we're trying to sell our business to somebody else, like that's a really key selling feature. And I think most ACNs there's still like an owner that's deeply involved, that is may not be the everyday face to every customer of the business, but is the everyday face to every new customer to the business, or probably should be. And so it's really important that you have an authentic brand that people can relate to, and that when you walk in the door, if they've been following you on social, or they like looked you up real quick, they kind of feel like they know you a little bit, and so you already have that kind of genuine link into them where it's like they think they have something to talk to you about. You may not know anything about them, but it all helps. Do you find that to be helpful, Sara?
Yeah, for sure. And it's really different now that I'm building my location in Oklahoma, because there are 2 ACNs in the state, and the other one doesn't do any kind of MSP. They don't do any MDM stuff. They really have they have their what is that certification bleh. You know what I'm talking about? The max fixing. They can fix your iPhone.
Oh, the ACMT, Apple certified Macintosh technician. Yeah.
Yeah, they do that. So I'm like the only pure consultant. So I've built my Facebook. It's very popular here in Oklahoma, Facebook and Instagram, around like, hey, I'm a small business owner just like you. These are the tools that I use. People are very DIY here. In Malibu, it's the opposite. It's like, come take care of it. Here, they're like, I want to know how to do it myself. I want you to show me that you know how to do what you say you're going to do. I've got the people looking over my shoulder, and I'm instructing while I'm working, which is
that's really interesting.
Appointment longer.
But that's really interesting because especially like for me in New York City, I would probably relate more to your Malibu clients, where my clients are like, please just take care of this for me. I need to move on my day. I got 1,000 things to do, and you're holding me up because you're not getting it done. And I think it's interesting that you now have 2 completely different dichotomies on how people can react. Because we always reference other episodes, but there was an episode where Tim and I were talking about how there's nothing in between New York and LA, and everything's a flyover state. But here you are in like pretty much like the dead center of the country, and like how different it is than you're used to in Malibu, and being able to teach these people. I mean, to be honest, I think you're one of the rising stars in the Apple community in general. Like, since meeting you last year at Aces in Kansas City, I've seen you everywhere. Like, it could be, I know there's like that, there's the psychological effect that like if you think about a car, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. Like there's an actual like, I think that's what it is with you, maybe, because like I met you now, and like you won the scholarship, and now here you are, and like I've seen you in the ACN videos, and I see you doing stuff on social, and like you're in the know and stuff like that. Like you've really like blown up, especially from my perspective in the last year and a half. I think that's awesome, and it's good to see new people and fresh blood instead of talking to Yoko over here, this side, if you're watching the video, talking to him for years on end about this kind of stuff. I do love you, Tim, though.
Whatever, it's fine. Nobody knows who I am. It's okay. Wait,
But
so,
no, I think that's awesome.
yeah, I don't want to
man.
stop you from saying nice things, but go ahead, Sarah.
I was just why I just have to give a compliment back because you might not know that Malibu. Well, obviously, pretty much it's common knowledge that Malibu had devastating fire, and 700 homes out of there are only 8,000 homes in the whole city, and 700 went down to the ground, burned burnt up.
Right.
700 more were damaged and people just fled the town. I almost closed 2 times. And really, I'm going to be straight up, Justin, if it wasn't for you helping me, introducing me to Smith AI, giving me all
Oh,
those
yeah.
helpful tips, helping me to get into the ACEs, encouraging me to get into the ACEs group, I would have closed. ACEs is that critical. It's I think it's that critical to know how you can stay informed of what you can actually use for monthly revenue. With just a little bit of help, I was able to stay in business and grow.
That's awesome.
So
See?
thank you,
So nice.
sincerely.
Now I got the warm fuzzies.
Yeah, well, it's true.
All right, so
it's true.
now we have to say something nice about Tim.
Tim,
Don't do it.
crack me up. You're very
It'll
funny.
hurt you. Don't do it. Hey, don't do it. But okay, so enough of the touchy-feely stuff. You guys are bugging me. Can we but I do so I'd like to ask something though that I think is relevant to a lot of our listeners and that way and business owners anyway. So you took your business and you started a new business in a new city that you did not exist in, had no knowledge of. It's not like you'd been working there for 20 years and had all these contacts that you could leverage when you hung your shingle. What was step one? Like, how did you, I mean, yeah, I got a business license so I could do business here, but what came after that?
So the next step was to contact the ACN admin and let them know I had another location. So when you have one location, one ACN location, you can combine certs with people you work with. If you have two, you both have to have all of the certs, which we were on a time because there were only 2 months left before the deadline. So we both had to just study, really, get it going and certify. So that was kind of a challenge. Then the next thing was I went to the Apple store and talked to a business manager there who hooked me up with a local museum, which would have been rad. But there were two things that happened. Number one, the Apple store was ill-equipped to serve the museum because they really should have gotten a solutions engineer involved. The museum, they ended up connecting me to the museum, but the problem was there were 50 Macs that the PC based tech guy actually didn't know how to enroll, didn't know anything about business, ABM or any enrolled devices or MDM stuff, or even how to manage the Apple IDs, and wouldn't accept any help either. So that was kind of awkward for me, but I just offered my help. It was declined, and I moved on and got one more client or two more clients from the Apple store, which helped a lot. But they're kind of smaller clients. But one's on monthly services, so that's rad.
That helps. Monthly service keeps you going.
One thing, someone from for sure. Someone from Apple actually told me about this site called Yext, YEXT. And what it does is aggregates all of the local Google, yellowpages.com, Yelp, all those sort of online map business listings, yellowpages.com, yp.com, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's $400 for the year, and it manages 80 listings for you in your local area. Hot Frog. I don't know who uses that, but it's still.
Oh yeah. I know this.
Helps you to rank in Google if you have all of those listings.
Yeah, so it's a good way to get your name out there. I think I don't know if I've talked to Tim, you talked to you about this, but like the Apple's outside of, let's say, the major metropolitan areas of, let's say, New York City, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, like the big cities, right? I think going to the Apple store is probably the best way to get new business. Like if, especially like in some, if Sara and there's only one other ACN in where she is in Oklahoma, like going to the Apple store is the best way to get business, because all those Apple stores have the business manager that you can talk to, and typically, and this is just my experience, so it is what it is, that they will be there for a couple of years at the store. In New York City, like there's 7 Apple stores on the island of Manhattan, which is only 6 miles long, and so like every day there's 17 new employees, so it's hard to track that. But somewhere like where Sara is, talking to the business manager and getting in, because and going back and talking to them again and again, and reminding who you are and stuff like that, like to keep you fresh in their mind. Maybe the museum wasn't a good fit, but who knows? Maybe now there's a school who needs help, or there's a new business that's starting up, or whatever it is, and there's like an easy way in.
Another thing is they can't accept any tips or gifts. So any Apple employee, they can't accept tips or gifts. So I sent them donuts to the whole store. I've done that a couple times. They didn't tell me not to. It's a gift, but they can't give it back.
Who doesn't like donuts?
They thanked me for the donuts, and they ate them.
Yeah, and you didn't carry them in, right?
Nope, I had them delivered by Grubhub.
Yeah, I think that's the tip. That's the trick.
Everybody likes donuts.
And if they're mean to you, you have a bad experience, then send them like really greasy pizza, and hope that it gets like dripped on all the keyboards in the store.
That's mean.
All right.
Please, for those who are watching at home, do not send your Apple Store greasy pizza. As a disclaimer, do not try this at home. So, I mean, what do you think, Sara, now that you've been to ACES, you've been in the mastermind this last year, which has been great. What do you think really changed in your perspective of business since like being at your first ACES?
I think it's pretty simple, like monthly recurring income. It's just, I think that's the name of the game, because now that I have an employee and soon to be more, that's going to be the name of the game, is having monthly income coming in, so that everybody's got a little job security. You have to have a prudent reserve. You have to have a way to pay the bills every month. And I think fixing it so that you have good affiliate partnerships with solid companies. Like I have a lot of affiliate partnerships. I actually set up a meeting with Justin because he does consulting outside of this. A little plug for, not to be cheesy, but I think it's a good idea that you're having that service that people can set up an appointment with you and talk to you about, like, how can I make my revenue happen on a better scale. So I think that's a way to do it. I've got affiliate partnerships with companies that I think are solid, like Sophos, Backblaze, companies that are not just like some cheesy Surfshark VPN, like, and you don't know where their tracking data is going either.
Right.
So
Russia.
I think that's a big deal. Yeah, don't put people on Kaspersky Security Plus or whatever.
Well, I think that is a big part. I think, and that we tend to forget about the fact that, like, we think that we as MSPs think that the only way to make money is to sell services, but the fact is that you can get recurring revenue from, and a lot of things we've already talked about, from like Backblaze, or having a master agent and selling ISP, or reselling my favorite VoIP service is phone.com, and you make 15% or more on services you're selling to your clients in perpetuity. So, like, we always talk about, passive income or side income, whether it's something like, if writing a book is one thing, but like within your own business, you can get side income by easily selling these services and bringing in all that affiliate money, which, I think a lot of us are not doing to the best of our abilities,
Yeah, I mean, two big ones I would say for me have been, well, actually, for the lower budget clients, I actually have someone doing a $30 a month subscription for us to check, have I been pwned? Because she doesn't know how to do it. She doesn't want to do it. Actually, she's been compromised and is scared. And we just check it every month for her. She doesn't want to do it herself. That's $30 a month. And
Right.
also reselling Google G Suite. Everybody pretty much needs
Yeah.
solid email because you can actually get malware from email if your email host is not doing what they should.
Right.
So you get, I think it's $10 every time somebody per account when somebody signs up with a new G Suite on their domain.
And if you
So all those
actually,
users,
you could also you could resell G Suite directly. We do this where we resell it to our clients. There's a $2 difference per user from resell to MSRP price. And then, to make that even a bigger cut for us, we sell in also email backup. And so, because Google only has a 30-day SLA, now we're selling them email backup for an additional $4 to $10. And you sell them spam protection for an extra $3 per user or whatever it is. And the next thing you know, you're making $10, $15 per user across, the entire organization of 30, 40 people at a company. That's easy money.
What is that?
analysis.
What is what? That's easy money.
Friday night. That's Friday night.
Oh, Friday night wine money. That's right. It's Friday night wine money.
Oh,
I forgot.
there you go. Analysis services too. Like if somebody, let's say somebody wants to know, like, why when I walk into the kitchen, my Wi-Fi drops off. You can sell them a map. Just a lot of these, what do we use? Wi-Fi Analyzer Pro or something. Walk through with the laptop and do a spectrum analysis, a heat map of the site,
Right.
and sell those. You can also sell, what was the other thing? Oh man, I spaced out. Oh yeah, SPF and DKIM records analysis. Like, see if the spam filters are enough. See if the client's email domain is actually set up correctly. You can sell those analysis services all day too.
I never even thought about that, selling SPF. SPF and DKIM for me are like the worst. Every time I have to touch one, I never remember if it's hyphen all or tilde all, and the next thing I know, their email stops working because I was doing it at 2:00 on a Wednesday. I really got to stop doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, you might want to just copy and paste from a reliable source.
Yeah, and do it on a weekend when they're not expecting email from like a client or whatever it is.
But stuff like that is so true that to like systematize that how you do that and your delivery of that so that you can just keep doing even things like you could do like security audits, or you could do most small businesses don't have like an IT security plan, like
Right.
and so to have like a generic one that you write up and then you sell that for, let's say $10,000, that'd be really nice. But then you can just keep knocking on doors and saying, hey, I've got this. Do you have this? No, great. I'm going to put your company name in here. We're going to tell you how to use it, and we're going to sell it to you for $10,000 too.
A business resiliency plan.
Yeah, that's really smart. Like if you actually read the Meraki training manual, it says like 60. If a small business is compromised, 60% of those small businesses will never be able to recover from that.
Yeah.
They're done.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you read the Meraki instruction manual?
Heck yeah.
You might be a lot smarter than all of us.
All right,
I've never read that thing. There's an instruction manual? I thought you just plug it in.
Yeah, there's a thing that comes in the box. There's a book.
I've never seen a book. I only see the wires.
Pamphlet with staples.
I see the white box and I see a wire and I go, this goes in here and this goes here, and then I walk away.
And there's an envelope in there. There's an envelope in there that goes in the box thing.
Virtual employees, if you're listening to this, next time we set up a Meraki to a client, find
Open
just in the envelope.
I swear to you.
No, I believe you. I love
this
Meraki
is the
equipment.
this is like the difference between men and women though too, right? Like guys just see it.
No.
Oh, it's dinosaur plug in. It work. Yes.
So-
No. No.
Is it
No, I mean-
directions reading type thing?
Wait, but maybe that also
look at
could
a
go back to.
map. Not happen.
But that also could go back to what we were talking about earlier about like where, and not that I want to keep harping on this, where like women have felt uncomfortable being in IT because they see guys or men just like thrashing through things like that and not, look, there's there's physiological differences. People understand the brain mechanism between men and women, like how we analyze things. That could be another part of it. But I mean, I think it's awesome that Sara's in it. I think it's awesome that she's doing what she's doing, and I think promoting it is another big thing. So that always helps. What do you?
Too is,
Yeah.
Yep.
No, go.
Just to make a comment on what you just said is that what you call it? Oh, I forgot. Shoot. Oh yeah, women and men maybe work out and resolve things differently. Like there was a little snafu on Teams that I started by posting a TikTok and then reply.
And the ACN thing. I saw that yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Those guys are okay.
With
I don't know any of those people.
I posted a meditation breathing TikTok in the all chat, which wasn't probably a good idea, but it exploded into a huge deal, and I ended up like apologizing, and I saw the dudes like working it out differently. They were very confrontational with each other, where women would be like, "I'm sorry," "No, I'm sorry,"
Yeah.
"No, I'm sorry," and there was like none of that.
I'll take a meditation TikTok. I'll take a meditation TikTok any day.
Watch it. It's so good. It's like, because that post was like, there's a guy, what I deduced was that he was working on a residential machine. He had run into like this profile thing that's kind of deep in the settings or deep in system preferences. It sounded like it was residential because those kind of attacks don't really, you didn't have antivirus on the machine, obviously.
Right.
So I was like, hey, try this, try that. It wasn't, my suggestions weren't right, but then I dropped like the TikTok that was like, here's a box breathing technique, which is used by Navy SEALs. And it's a really good video. Like, if you're flipping out on a job, you're not going to be able to think straight if you're freaked out that you're not fixing it.
Right.
So that's why I dropped it in there, for useful information.
Yeah, just chill, dude. Yeah, the whole thing was. It's funny because I don't spend a lot of time on that WebEx team. It's so anybody who doesn't know about this, Apple, the ACN, the official way to communicate with the ACNs, if it's not via or the ACN support team or whatever, if it's not via picking up the phone or email, they have generously provided a WebEx Teams instance for us. And there is some, on occasion, useful information. It's kind of a barren wasteland, but there's good stuff in there. And I actually met, I actually met some people in there in Apple corporate that I didn't know, and they have been pretty helpful to me. So there's good stuff in there, and you have to be an ACN member to get in. But the other day, and I kind of fly into it once a week or once every other week if I think about it. Or when I restart my computer because it auto launches because it's WebEx, they're assholes. But so the other day I was floating through and I saw this and I was like, oh my goodness, these guys were just like, somebody was offended because there was like a little TikTok in the thing and they thought it was off topic and it didn't solve their problem. And it's just like, I mean, just like move on. And instead,
I'm not in this. I'm not in this.
Then they gotta.
I want to join this and stick up for Sara now.
Well, that's
people stuck up for me.
By the time, but yeah, people stuck up for her. And by the time I was in there, it was like beyond, like it was too late. And so I was like, oh well, I don't want to bring this back up. But man, that guy was a dick.
Well, I wouldn't say that because I think in a way he was right because everybody gets pinged with that and it should probably be at a minimum. Fair enough, that's cool.
You know what though?
But
If you want, post the TikTok in the general chat in Ace's Slack, and we're okay with it.
It's a good video. Teams that's really good though. Like I had a machine last week that was filling up with random PNG images to the point where there was less than 10% space left, and it was filling up like 35 gigabytes every 5 minutes, and it was a train bound for disaster. And I couldn't stop it. And I posted at like 5 a.m. on the Teams chat, like, hey, is anyone around? And I really need some help. And Jan, he's, I think, in Austria. Can't remember his last name. But he totally helped me. He jumped on a remote session. It was like 2 p.m. where he was. And helped me out with like some terminal commands.
That's awesome.
Which I was afraid to do because it was like in the var folder. And I didn't want to modify anything in there without knowing what it was.
Right.
And I was like hyperventilating. I couldn't think straight because I was so scared. This was like could have been terrible.
But then
you
here's
needed your TikTok.
Well, no, I was gonna say, you need the TikTok, but this also goes back to what we were saying earlier, where I don't care about the VAR file. I was thinking like, oh, you said you were scared of going to the VAR file. You want to know how things work. Like I'd be like, whatever. You don't need this VAR folder. Just delete the whole thing.
Okay.
Whatever. I don't care. We'll figure it out after.
It was a client in California. I couldn't have, and it's my way out client. That's like 100 miles away from my employee, who's
doesn't like
going to charge me per mile and per hour to get there. Right. So, I'm not about that life. I want to play it safe.
No, it's fine. Before we wrap up. What are you looking forward to 2020? What are your goals for Close to IT for 2020? What do you think is going to happen for you? What do you want to see happen?
I'm taking the space of the observer because so many things have changed. Having a whole new business in a new place that I don't quite understand yet. I need to take it just, slow, the pacing. So I'm being really open-minded. I'm taking on some interns for the summer. And just kind of getting myself out there because going to a new place, there's a whole new culture that comes with it that I don't really understand the nuances sometimes, but it's kind of good in a way. At least I'm a nerd. I have an excuse for being socially awkward.
No, I love it.
Yeah, goals are just to keep growing a little bit, and stay in the mystery, see what happens.
Can I add a goal for you?
Oh, sure.
Because we haven't talked about it yet this episode, this show. You should watch that show after MASH.
Okay. I remember that as being a cheesy show, but maybe in hindsight it'll be good. Are you kidding me right now?
If you're not watching the video, Tim just lost his mind.
His head was on the desk.
I thought we were getting through this episode. I was
nope, I was waiting for it.
Watch. I was like, we're gonna get through it.
I'm getting it in there.
What's the appeal?
It's a horrible show. Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Don't.
We just like talking about Colonel Potter. Tim and I have a new podcast that we're starting called the Aftermash Podcast, where we're gonna actually watch an episode and break down every episode of Aftermash.
Until it drives. Tim wants to be in it.
No, I'm forcing him to be in it.
It's like Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah, kind of like that. Anything else you want to share with the audience before we go today?
No, I can't think of anything.
That's fine.
But hey, it was fun talking to you guys.
This is what we do when we do it raw. Nobody. You ask a question, people are just like, eh.
Oh, well, hey, stop by my social media accounts, why don't you? At Close to the Earth IT, at Close to the Earth. Just look up Close to the Earth IT services on your preferred social media channel.
Nice.
Come by and say hi.
We'll put links in the show notes if we remember.
Groovy.
If we remember.
Okay, well, you don't have to.
It'll be somewhere. It's somewhere. Sara, thanks so much for being here with us. Sit tight. We're going horizontal Tim, man, another great episode in the books. I love it.
Hey, it was fun. I love to get to meet new people too, and I hadn't met Sara before. We were in the room. I think I waved, but I don't think we actually ever spoke. So this is nice. I like that.
You know when you can meet her in person?
I do. May 19th and 20th, the ACES conference, ACES 2020, acesconf.com. Be there or be square. Buy your tickets now. Buy your tickets now because...
Don't be an L7.
Buy your tickets now because tickets are going fast and you don't want to get left out.
You don't want to be that one person who's like not with the cool kids.
That's right.
Are we the cool kids?
Not often. No, definitely not. I'm never referred to as one of the cool kids.
I love it. I love everything about it. I love working. I love doing this show. I love working with Tim. I think you're an amazing person. Also, I'll give you a little. I'll give you a little touchy feely.
That's very sweet. That's very kind. Thanks, Justin. Thank you.
Anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
I got nothing.
I don't think you ever have. It's great.
I love y'all.
There you go. So to our 54 listeners, we'll see you guys next time.
All right. See you. Thanks.